Dear President, dear guests, I'm very pleased to come to Slovakia. Let me start with the idea that every day in various parts of Europe and the world, which favors Europe, but which is also hostile to us, everybody thinks of how Europe would end up and what the future of the project of Europe is. Of course, we are thinking of the future of Europe in the moment when Europe is facing a serious crisis. Europe has already faced crisis before. It has already overcome the biggest crisis. However, we are today not only facing one serious crisis, but rather several crises at once. It is important to overcome pessimism and remember that one of the founders of the EU, Jean Monnet, said that Europe would be a sum of answers and experience resulting from overcoming other European crises. It is possible to overcome the present-day crises which concern us and haunt us, and they can be overcome. However, the project of Europe has perhaps not faced so great number of parallel crises at once in its whole existence. Remember that our major task is to overcome pessimism and believe that there is an end to something. Let's believe that something new begins. We are aware of the nature of present-day crisis. The crises have not been resolved, but they are constantly losing their intensity despite the fact that Russia continues being aggressive towards the Ukraine and the Union, even though it is the direct neighbor. Next, Brexit weakens the potential and authority of Europe, and it means that we are still easy to be affected by various types of populism and manipulation, and we are very sensitive to it. And also deep national egoisms can be seen. Other crisis is formed by the inflow of immigrants who seek better place to live in Europe, but who evoke concerns of nations with their identities, for example. We have to realize that sometimes it's the fear that comes to the heights. For example, in Poland, we do not have a single immigrant, but we are still afraid. In each state, we can see this phenomenon. This is a crisis, some insecurity regarding the perspective of Europe and the role of the US as a leader of the Western world is the result of the recent elections in the US. We think of the future of Europe in the moment when it is in the position of being weakened. It is necessary to remember that our weaknesses and our doubts and our pessimism and lack of courage, our enemies are waiting for this, and the enemies of European integration. Some of them are deliberately building their own position in Europe on European problems at the European Union's expense. Some of the enemies declared that it would be better if the EU would fall apart and would give up and forget its role in the world. And it would forget its role in the world. This is how Russia proceeds this way and considers the EU as its rival. It's the rival for the Russian-Asian Union. The crisis and weakness should be challenged to us as participants of the conference. We should start to act, and we should start to think about what to do next in order that the world fighting for democracy, single market, and human rights, and the world which wants to be rich, which appreciates peace highly, and is not relying only on power, but also on agreements between the neighboring states and nations. These values used to be fundamentals of the European Union. We should start thinking what kind of Europe we want and what could strengthen the project of Europe and what could be more attractive to European citizens. In my opinion, it is necessary to seek solutions that are based on proven values, which should be fundamentals of Europe. It is important to take into account the important fact that the EU is based on cultures and traditions that are extremely diversified on our continent. For thousands of years it has been diversified, and we have to remember that European patriotism is a sum of various patriotisms that form Europe. It's patriotism but not chauvinism with selfish interests and antipathy towards others. In situations where concerns are felt and national identities are getting lost, our ability and willingness to oppose the wave of nationalism gains importance through the expression of patriotism and not a version of European cosmopolitanism. Recently, the social aspect of Europe has been discussed a lot. It is said that Europe is able to gain its vitality back if the member states begin to solve problems better and together. It is said to be an answer to the European crisis. Of course, it's true. However, as inhabitants of the socially weaker part of Europe, we always have to think about those common solutions, and we have to remember that Central Eastern Europe, we have in front of us a strategic task to catch up or equal the richer part of Western Europe. Living in the poorer states, we have to pay attention to the healthy proportion between what we consume and what we spend for the development. From this viewpoint, we have to assess the consequences of ideas and accept adequate decisions so that Europe can develop socially. It is necessary to emphasize also one weaker point of the project of Europe. It is not only Brexit, it includes political changes that have been present in the member states. These changes have been either made or they can also come true. The changes were associated with the fact that the societies accepted populism and anti-European populisms. means that it is necessary for the individual states to communicate with each other better. It is important to protect the Union against the pseudo-information from on the internet. Everybody is talking about it now in the context of events or facts that took place in the US. It is very easy to manipulate with the society if it gets the false information from the internet. False profiles, we all feel it. It's worse, it's more and more difficult to protect values. They are under the influence of mass events and aggression towards the logic and values which are encouraged on the social networks. We all want Europe to be stable and fight for stability. We want to develop integration processes. We want open Europe defending its rules and principles. We want Europe to be ambitious. It means Europe which does not give up as a result of crisis and temporary problems. We want to play. We want ambitious Europe that does not allow anybody to take what it has achieved by now and that stimulates the European integration after the turning point in 1989. Ambitious Europe, we want Europe that promotes today. When we look at the crisis, we need to promote political strategy and integration. And in my opinion, the defensive integration, it means we want, so it is deliberately opposes disintegration processes. It is not necessary to invent a new European Union. It is important to revive and reach the existing project that we co-create. It's necessary to build on the fundamentals and proven existence we have gained. In my opinion, it is harmful to try to differentiate internally and impose various speeds in the Union. Let's encourage integration, but based on clear criteria and equal opportunities. Everybody who regularly visits Polish mountains as a tourist knows that there is a phenomenon known as the so-called weather window. It means that sometimes the weather is bad and sometimes it is nice. But then it can be used to conquer a peak and to get back safely. Such weather windows are in politics and they are very important for integration and expansion. Similar windows opened in 1989 when freedom changes were made in Eastern Europe and when communism and the Iron Curtain fell apart. Democracy and free market prevailed. The presence of President Walesa and our ideas will be directed in this way. A lot was achieved in Poland in this good weather. All this could be achieved in the whole of Europe.
Udało się w czasie tego okna pogodowego osiągnąć i Polsce, i Słowacji, i całej Europie. to nie tylko było poszerzenie jednak Unii, to także przemiana instytucjonalna i wzrost ambicji Unii Europejskiej do odgrywania roli ważnego gracza we współczesnym świecie. Być może obecne okno pogodowe, to, które się otworzyło w 1989 roku, dzisiaj dla Europy powoli się zamyka. Trzeba jednak pamiętać, że będzie następne. Nie wiemy kiedy i w jakich okolicznościach, ale będzie. Tak było zawsze. Tak było z kolejnymi kryzysami rozwiązywanymi przez Unię Europejską. Nie można więc i nie należy łatwo i przedwcześnie rezygnować z ambicji integracyjnych, ani też z ambicji odgrywania istotnej roli w świecie. Nie wolno Unii równych z równymi zamieniać w Unię różnych prędkości, różnego znaczenia. To prawda, że nasze działania trzeba dzisiaj mierzyć realnymi możliwościami i konkretnymi wyzwaniami. To prawda, że dzisiaj trzeba koncentrować się na problemach wynikających z obecnych kryzysów, ale myślmy o tym bez paraliżującego politycznego pesymizmu czy wręcz katastrofizmu. Dzisiaj trzeba pracować i planować z myślą o następnej politycznej koniunkturze, z myślą o następnym politycznym oknie pogodowym. Projekt Europa ma jeszcze znaczące źródła siły i poważne atuty w ręku. To widać także po tych zjawiskach, które nas niepokoją. No bo przecież nikt nie wybiera się z całego świata tam, gdzie jest albo gdzie ma być źle i słabo. Wszyscy wybierają Europę, szukając perspektywy lepszego życia. To powinno nas także nastawiać optymistycznie, że Europa ma swoją siłę przyciągania, atrakcyjności, ma siłę do kontynuowania dalszego procesu integracji. Bo to od nas zależy, czy wykorzystamy te źródła siły obecnie i w przyszłości. Dlatego dziękując raz jeszcze za zaproszenie na dzisiejszą konferencję, chcę powiedzieć trochę przewrotnie, że nie warto budować nowej Europy. Trzeba o Europie, o starym europejskim kontynencie, objętym wspólną, starą kulturą i cywilizacją, po prostu myśleć po nowego. Myślmy o starym kontynencie po nowemu, także i tutaj, dzisiaj w Słowacji. Dziękuję bardzo.